Okay, let's have a look at this. It says solve the following equations by doing the same to both sides. Okay, I'm going to refresh your memory by looking at this one here. This is setting up how we did it before with a flowchart and backtracking. So let's have a look at this. So how we did it before is I put my x down, then I think about what was this step here. That was a plus 7. So I write my plus 7. So I end up with x plus 7, and then I wrote my answer down here. Then I wrote underneath, I did my 11, my answer. I looked at this was a plus 7. So what was my backtracking? My backtracking was a negative 7. Okay, so now I do 11 take 7. 11 take 7 is 4. So I know my x equals 4. Now, if I go back to up here and how it says doing the same to both sides. So this is just a way of doing it without all the working out down here. So we've just got to do a little bit more in our head. You can still do them like this. There's nothing stopping you from doing them like this, but it's just getting used to doing it a little bit in our head. So let's have a look at this. We've got our x plus 7. This is our plus 7. So now we have to think in our head, what's the opposite? What's my backtracking? So my backtracking, and it's like we say taking it to the other side, is negative 7. So really what I'm doing, what it says to both sides, I'm taking 7 away from both sides because plus 7 take 7 is 0. So I want to be left with just my x on this side. So I've got my x. Now I wrote down my 11, and then I've got my take 7. So it was plus 7 on this side, take 7 on this side. So now I get my x equals 4. And this is the working out that I want to see, okay? Either doing it the backtracking way, so doing it like this, or doing it like this, okay? So let's have a look over here at the next one. So I've got this one here. This is a negative 7, so I've got to think in my head. If I was to backtrack, what would I do? What's the opposite to negative 7? Opposite to negative 7 is plus 7, or take 7 is plus 7. So now I write down my x, and I think about this because negative 7 plus 7 is 0. So I've got my x by itself. So I've got my x, and then I'll do my 11. Now what am I doing? I do a plus 7 because I think about this. It was a negative 7 on this side, so it's positive 7 on this side. Okay, they're the opposite. So now my x equals 11 plus 7 is 18. So now I've got my answer. Okay, beautiful. Let's have a look at these ones. So once again, doing the same to both sides. So let's have a look. I've got my 7m plus 49. So I'm going to do the old way. Got it down here. So what was the first thing I did? I wrote my m. Now, 7m, what does that mean? That means 7 times m. So it was times 7. My m times 7 gave me 7m. So I write my 7m, and then I wrote my answer. Then I wrote my answer down here, and then I thought about my backtracking. So this was a times 7, so this way I've got to be, it's a divide by 7. So 49 divided by 7 is 7. So I end up with m equals 7. Now, let's have a look back up here, doing it the same to both sides. So I've got to think in my head, so it's like doing all of this, but in my head. So 7m means 7 times m. So when I take it over to this side, it becomes a divide by 7, because I know that this is a times 7. So 7 divided by 7 is 1. So I end up with my m on this side. Then I do my 49. Now I could write divide by 7, but we don't tend to write it like that. We're doing a bit more mathematically. So when we use algebra, remember we tend to do our divides as underneath. So that's the same as 49 divided by 7. So 49 divided by 7 is 7. So there's my answer. So I end up getting my answer here, and this is a nice setting out, and this is a setting out I want to see, even with this little arrow to show me. Okay, so let's have a look at this one. So I have to think, this is 12b. What does that mean? 12b means 12 times b. When I take that over to the opposite side, I'm going to the opposite side of the equals, 12 times b, so it's got to be a divide by 12. So 12 divided by 12 is 1, so I'm left with 1b. So that's how I get that on that side. Then I think about this, 12 divided by 60. So I do my 60. Instead of writing divide by, how do I do it? I do it underneath. It's more high-powered mathematics. So 60 divided by 12. 60 divided by 12 equals 5. Or 60, how many 12s is 5? So there you go. So you should be able to do the other ones. Some of them have got decimals in that, but that's where you can use your calculator if you need to. But you should be able to do some of them in your head. Okay, good luck with those. Okay, let's have a look at these ones. Okay, so we've got solve the following. Whoops, by doing the same to both sides. So I'm going to do it how we did it before. Okay, so if we look down at this one with our backtracking flowchart. So I wrote down my x. Now I had to think about this. What does this mean? When it's underneath, it means divide by. So it was a divide by 7. So that's why I wrote my x, divide by 7, and I wrote my answer down there. Now I write my answer down. Now I do my backtracking. So what was my backtracking? It was a divide by 7 here, so my backtracking is going to be a times 7. So now 2 times 7 is 14. So x equals 14. So now I'm going to do it up here. Okay, so remember this is a long way of doing, or the longer way of doing it. You can still do it like this, but we can do it this way as well. So doing it, what we say, the same to both sides. So I've got to think about this here. Now, what is this? This is a divide by 7. So when I take it to the opposite side of the equal sign, it becomes a times by 7. So this side was a divide by 7. This side has to be the opposite, times 7. And we think about that. 7 divided by 7 is 1. So I'm left with my x on this side. And I do 2 times 7. So my x equals 14. Okay, let's think about this one over here. So I've got my thing here, and it's b divided by 9. b divided by 9. So I'm thinking about divide by 9 on this side, so when I take it to that side, it's got to be a times by 9. So I write my b down, and I think about, so now I've got, 7 times 9, so b equals 63. Okay, and there we go. So hopefully that'll give you enough to get you started on those ones. Okay, good luck.